I don't think there's...
I don't think we're gonna... Because we didn't ask about the will,
Best not to bother.
I don't think we can do anything else.
Mr. DeVay.
Leave me alone, Mr. Fordham. I have nothing more to say to you.
We're just gonna have to go with the spontaneous. Unless anybody else has got any ideas. I can't, can't go back far enough to ask.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
I'm done with the Lathan case.
Oh? What have you got?
She was the unfortunate victim of spontaneous human combustion.
I beg your pardon?
There isn't a scientific explanation for it, but she fits all the criteria. She was an elderly woman, she was known to drink excessively, and the way her body burnt is consistent with all previous accounts of spontaneous combustion. Add to that the fact that very little around her was damaged by the fire, and you've got a textbook case.
You know, I heard a few of the officers talking about a demon getting into her, but I had no idea it was an actual documented occurrence. Well, this is certainly one of the more unusual explanations we've had, but I'll pass it along. Although I'm sorry you won't be able to gloat to Snelling that you solved the case before his detectives did.
I can find other means of amusement, I think.
Good work, Fordham. As usual, I'll send anything else your way as soon as I get it.
Not quite happy with the outcome of that.
I'm back.
There you are. I was starting to get worried you wouldn't make it home in time.
In time? In time for what?
For dinner at the Rutherfords. I told you about it the other night, don't you remember?
I'm terribly sorry, dear. It must have slipped my mind.
How you haven't yet been presented a prize for Husband of the Year is beyond me.
There's still time for you to get ready if you hurry.
Try that one.
Why don't we spend a nice quiet evening in together? I'd much prefer that.
We've had a quiet evening in every night for the past 3 weeks. I need to get out of the house.
Then go ahead without me. Please give Anne and Joseph my regrets.
So you're just going to sit here at home by yourself?
I'll probably just catch up on my reading or try and get some sleep. Maybe I'll get around to reading that story in Brentwell's.
All right, suit yourself. I shouldn't be home too late, but don't wait up.
Have a wonderful time, my love.
Dreadful. Dreadful.
Ah, alone at last.
If only I were.
Careful what you wish for, Miles. You just might get it.
Seeing as I won't, I think another trip to the Angels in order.
Oh, you're gonna break your word in addition to lying? That's bold.
Nonsense. I'll be home in no time. It'll just be a quick drink to calm my nerves and get you out of my hair.
I think I need a machete for that, Fordham.
Very funny.
So, that last case was really something. Spontaneous combustion. Who would have thought? You might want to take it easy on the drinking, Miles.
He's
Don't
talking
want
to
you
the
randomly
spirits
catching
again.
fire, too. You're not listening to me, are you? Oh, right, you've had 2 drinks already. Fine, I'll just see myself out.
Copper for your thoughts, Miles?
Oh, I was just thinking about a story I read tonight in Brentwell magazine. It's called The Dissembling Mechanism. Are you familiar with it?
Afraid not. Brentwell isn't really my type of magazine.
It isn't mine either, but my wife suggested I read it, and it struck a bit of a chord.
Unusual
then.
looking in through the
What's it
window,
about?
isn't it? Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to make another coffee and I need a quick bio break, so I shall be right back. Yeah, back again. When I got the new router in, I had so many Wi-Fi devices to go and reconfigure. ages last night.
The story concerns an inventor, a woman who's the greatest mind of the modern age. In this story, ethericity's been discovered, and the inventor understands and uses it in her work.
Ah, one of those fantastic speculative stories.
Anyway, this inventor spends her time creating mechanical wonders, the likes of which the world has never seen.
Yeah, I did go and set them all up again to connect it. Still got a couple to do, but not many. It was. I had my mobile phone connected up to my work laptop so I could still work. It wasn't a great connection, but at least it got me logged on. So I could look like so I could try and do some work, but well, we couldn't stream anything on the telly. So
The inventor has a son whom she loves dearly. One day, he meets a tragic end in a carriage accident. The inventor is devastated.
All too common in these types of stories.
Yes, well, as I mentioned before, the inventor is the greatest mind of the modern age. She spends weeks researching a way to bring him back. She toils for hours, forgetting to eat, neglecting her duties, forgetting her friends. Finally, she finds a way to repair his broken body with mechanical implants. Once that's done, she harnesses the power of ethericity and revives him from death.
Why would she go and do something like that?
I had a couple of videos I needed uploaded to YouTube, so I did hook the phone in the evening up to my own desktop, but I could still play offline games, yeah. I did manage to get the videos uploaded, that just took a horrendous amount of time.
Because the inventor's obsession was fueled by love. She cared so much for her lost loved one that she vowed to do everything in her power to save them from death. Unfortunately, things don't go well. The inventor brings her son back, and at first he's confused, wild. With time and patience, she tries to ease him back into the world of the living. But gradually, she comes to realize that this person she's brought back isn't her son. Not as he was, anyway. When she understands what she's done, she flies into a fit of madness, and she kills both her creation and herself.
How tragic.
She also leaves behind a note which closes off the story. I can still recall the exact words. This dissembling mechanism hath not the vital breath of he whom I loved. It is not him. I have formed but a vain, mocking shadow of what is forever lost.
That's one hell of a story, Miles.
As I said, it resonated with me quite deeply.
Same here. I can tell you, I'm glad that ethericity crap hasn't been discovered, or else this sort of thing won't just be in stories. You mark my words.
Yes, I suppose that's one way of interpreting it. I should probably be getting home.
One last gin for the road?
Ah, hell, why not?
It's the little things that, as well, when you don't have any internet connection. Because
It's later than I
our
thought.
TV
Addie must be
obviously
asleep.
pulls its TV guide down from the internet.
Miles, I thought you said you were staying in tonight. What happened to you?
Nothing. I went out for a bit and lost track of time.
Rather than pulling it over
Miles, you're dead drunk.
the antenna, so
No,
we couldn't see what was
no,
on the
of course
telly,
I'm
so I had to
not.
keep looking that up on my phone.
Don't you dare keep lying to me, Miles. It's obvious. I can smell it on you.
But I'm not drunk. I only had 2, I think.
I don't care how many you had. You promised me this wouldn't happen again. Where exactly did you go tonight anyway?
Is it the Angel? I can't remember.
I was at the Angel.
The Angel. But why would you go there?
I suppose I was just trying to relive the old days.
So why didn't you tell me you were going?
I don't know.
Miles, this has to stop. First it was that sleep medicine, now you've started to go out drinking yourself into a stupor after you explicitly promised me you wouldn't again. It's
He's
clear
not
that
like
you've
any
been
fun,
keeping
is he?
something from me and using drugs and drink as a way to avoid dealing with it.
No, really, it's just...
No, Miles. I'm tired of the lies. I heard what you said when I came home from my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. God forbid Adelaide ever find out about something. I wanted to think I'd imagined it, so I let it go. But I've come to realize just how wrong I was.
Addie, please.
Enough. No more excuses,
you can
no
rely
more
on it too
lying.
much,
I
can't
just
you?
want to hear the truth. What is
Especially
it
for
you're
that.
not telling me?
I can't tell you, Addie. I'm sorry, but if I do, you'll think I'm crazy.
Do you know what I think is crazy, Miles? The fact that you think it necessary to lie to your own wife. Am I to believe that for all these years you've never felt you could trust me?
Of course not. It's just that this is different.
A lie is a lie, Miles. And the bottom fact is you've been lying to me for months.
She sure
Perhaps
does.
I was too naive or too distracted to see what was really going on, but you finally opened my eyes. This can't go on. I refuse to let it go on.
What are you saying?
Get out, Miles, and don't come back until you're ready to tell me the truth.
Addie, you don't mean that.
I do mean it, Miles. I don't care where you spend the night, but it's not going
not
to be
being
here.
very helpful,
If
is
you ever
she?
decide you want to tell me what's going on, I'll listen. But until then, just go.
If they even have a doghouse.
Oh.
That wasn't much of a sob. She's got the whole place to herself now. Oh, we're gonna live with Upton.
Take me away from all my troubles. So far away from all the worries in my life. Who in the ether is calling at this time of night?
Your pal.
Oh, Miles! Please come in. It's so nice to see you outside of work.
Oh, I get a hug and a kiss? Is that how it works now?
You put up your rough and tough attitude, but I know deep down you're really a kitten.
Upton, are you drunk?
No, of course not. I admit I like to have a glass of wine or 6 to unwind after work, but I can hold my own.
Well, I'm glad you're not, because I am.
Wait, what's going on? Is everything all right?
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm afraid I've made a mess of things at home.
Back in.
Addie threw me out.
Oh, Miles. I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Not as sorry as I am, believe me.
What happened?
It's really not worth getting into. Let's just say I need to figure some things out about my life.
Don't we all?
Constance, I hate to impose, but
Of course you can stay here, Miles, as long as you need to.
thank you. I won't need much space.
They're much
That
more
chair in
suited.
the corner should do nicely.
Are you sure? You won't be uncomfortable?
I've slept in worse places, believe me.
All right. Well, I should probably be getting to bed. Early morning tomorrow and all that.
Of course. Have a good night, Upton, and thank you again for letting me stay.
Not a problem. Good night.
Oh, 1 week later, and he's still staying there. Oh, who's this?
Ah, election night. The perfect opportunity to switch out one rich swindler for another. Don't know why you're wasting your time. It's not as though the Prime Minister actually does anything. It's oddly quiet in here. Maybe my mustache drawing campaign had an effect after all.
Good evening, sir. Are you registered to vote?
Yes, I am. Here's my registration card.
Why have they only got one person there?
Very good, Mr. Fordham. You've come at an excellent time. Go ahead and step inside a booth. Take as long as you need.
Thank you, young man.
I have 2 people here at an election station. So you can't do anything broad.
I thought they were trying to encourage people to vote. With all these rules, it's a wonder anyone bothers. An ad for a brothel. At least they seem to know their audience.
We've got Scottish Government elections coming up in May of this year.
Yeah, at least you're already registered to vote. Having to go through that bureaucratic nightmare tonight would have just added insult to injury.
Probably.
A list of fools who think their opinion will actually make a difference.
Is this a polling station? The stream of the matter is that this steam technology is a necessity in our modern lives. Prime Minister Atwood vows to fund etheric research and build a better, prosperous future for Spakia and its people. Don't be fooled by the lies and confessions of the ignorant masses. I don't know how polling stations work in other countries, but we wouldn't be allowed political propaganda inside the polling station. Citizens of New Britain, do you want to be replaced by a machine? Have you or someone you love been injured or killed by steam tech? Is it hard to understand how anyone could fall to the persistently lie? Then vote Hart Leroy, the man of the people. We can talk to him, or we can go. Let's have a talk to him.
Excuse me.
Yes, how may I help you?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to. I bet he's going to say something political back here. He shouldn't be able to. He has to be unbiased.
Atwood seems quite fond of advancing steam tech, doesn't he?
That he does. He's promised to fund research of ethericity, as well as introduce more automated technology to increase production and boost Vespuccia's economy. If social progress and futurism are important to you, you'd be wise to vote for him.
Is that your official endorsement?
No, sir. Merely stating the facts.
I'm a polling inspector for elections, so I have to know all the rules and that. For the polling stations. I'm in charge of like 10 polling stations, so I need to go around them all on the election day. Sure things run okay and help out if there's any issues. I've been a polling inspector for the last 6-7 years, and I was dealing with polling stations. I worked in polling stations for 20 odd years before that. Would they? Okay. Bribery to go and vote.
Leroy is really pushing this whole man of the people angle, isn't he?
Indeed. He wants to minimize the use of steam tech and ensure that people all have jobs. Leroy doesn't believe that ethericity exists, and instead wants to look into more practical energy sources. He also wants to prioritize the building of the bridge between Gascon and the Chum.
They really need to do something because the turnouts are quite low really for elections.
When making your choice in the booth.
You need some other incentive.
Where is everybody?
I'm not sure. I was told to expect large crowds, but so far we haven't had more than about 50 people in here. The polls have only been open for a couple of hours, though. I imagine things will pick up around 8 o'clock.
Or it could just be that everyone has come to their senses and isn't wasting their time.
I'll just go cast my ballot then.
Very good, Mr. Fordham.
This should be a secret vote. You shouldn't be able to see what I'm voting for.
Well, that's taken care of. Thankfully, the Angel isn't a polling place, so we can still have a nice quiet evening.
Achievement unlocked. Civic duty. Who's knocking at the door?
Hmm? What? My head is pounding. Damn withdrawal.
Actually, I think someone's knocking at the door.
Oh, right.
That was a nice bit of animation there, putting the jacket on.
Not a very inspiring piece. Hell, I could probably paint it better. Mostly cookbooks. Yeah, at least you won't have to worry about starving while you're staying here. Should have listened to your mother. You should have practiced.
Oh, it was a newspaper. Oh, Hart Leroy won. It's not who we voted for. Latest serial victim, serial murder, early cause. Law firm of Usher and Price announces that a class action lawsuit has been filed against the Royal Maverick. That's what they were talking about. And that's the case that we investigated. They've said it was smoke cigarettes in bed. Propensity. Likely led to her demise.
Looks like that umbrella's gotten some good use. It was quite the rainstorm we had yesterday. Therein lies Upton's boudoir. As a matter of respect, the less said the better, I think.
Hope this isn't his wife.
Good afternoon, miss. If you're looking for Miss Upton, I'm afraid she's not in right now.
No, I've already spoken with Miss Upton. I'm looking for Mr. Miles Fordham.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm Miles Fordham. What can I do for you, Miss...
Mrs. Emily Morgan. I have a problem, you see. Miss Upton said you'd be able to help.
I suppose you'd better come in. So, what seems to be the trouble?
It's my brother, Ronan Lespay. He was murdered 4 nights ago outside a tavern in the Chum.
On election night?
Yes, I suppose it was.
Could you please tell me what happened?
The police took his body to the mortuary and investigated the crime scene, but they're out of ideas. I've been down there at the station every day, but they don't seem to care enough to look into it any further. All they've been able to determine was that it wasn't a robbery, and that the clothes he was wearing weren't his. My brother was a good man, Mr. Fordham. He would never have willingly gone to that part of town. I need to know why he was murdered, and I want whoever did it to pay for it.
Very well, Mrs. Morgan. I'll take your case.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fordham.
I just need to know where your brother was killed, and where I might be able to contact you.
He was found outside the Silent Raven. It's on Alewife Avenue, on the west side of the Chum.
Alewife Avenue.
Take this. It's a photo of Ronan. It might help your investigation. And if you need to speak with me, you can come to my husband's bakery. It's here in Worcester, at 15 Drummond Street.
Very good. I'll begin my investigation right away.
Thank you again, Mr. Fordham. You have no idea
I get
how
a
much
free
this
bacon
means
roll
to
when
me.
you go to the bakery.
Well, this case has our names written all over it. Maybe it'll be good practice for finding the man who caused my death, eh?
So we have a photo of Ronan. Oh, that was the order photo. Documents, no suspects. Silent Raven. Let's head on over. The obligatory white outline of the body.
To think, in an instant, a man's life can be reduced to some scribbles on the filthy pavement.
Now's not the time to get poetic, Bill.
What a mess. These advertisements are all at least 10 years out of date. It's an ad for whiskey.
Whiskey.
Or perhaps paint thinner. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference. I suppose you could do worse, as far as bar names go. Your mascot seems to be a raven with a glowing red eye. Is that meant to attract customers or to scare them off?
Oh.
Yesterday's rain has made the water level rise significantly. Is it just me, or does it look like there's something resting at the bottom of the drain?
If there is, I have no way of getting to it through the drain cover.
Right, so we're going to have to find something to get into that drain cover.
My, this grog shop looks pretty rough, even by chum standards. Best keep a low profile while you're in here, Miles. Doesn't look like cleaning up is high on the list of priorities around here.
Somebody didn't enjoy their game of chess.
Looks like that's where they keep the good stuff. Of course, around here, good is an extremely relative term.
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Nah, never heard of him.
He was killed here 4 nights ago. The man in this ferrotype.
Oh, that one. Well, I never saw him before that night, and I didn't talk to him. You with the police or something?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to help his sister find out what happened.
So are you done with the questions? Can I get you a drink or what?
Yeah, she's a shrewd businesswoman. You at least have to give her that.
What's ferrotype? He said on in his ferrotype. Oh, okay. It's to do with the photos, the old style black and white photos. I was talking about the picture. Okay.
Were you working on election night?
Pal, I'm here most every night.
So that's a yes, then?
Christ on a cracker, you ain't too bright, are ya? Yes, I was here on election night.
There's no need to be rude about it, madam. Tell me what you know about the murder that took place outside on election night.
Listen, chum, do you know how busy we were that night? This was a polling place. We had gents coming in and out for hours, not to mention the regular clientele. I was up to my ass in drink orders and was running the shift all by myself. Had to break up God knows how many fights, too. So you'll excuse me if I didn't exactly notice something that happened out on the street.
Did you at least hear the gunshot?
No, I didn't. You try distinguishing a gunshot over a room full of rowdy voters. It ain't gonna happen.
What can you tell me about this place?
It's a bar. People come here to drink. Sometimes people drink too much, and then they're sick all over. I get the honor of cleaning up the mess.
Sounds like you're not too pleased with your job.
I never said that. There may be rough days, but there's a lot worse I could be doing. Here, I get a place to sleep and a bit to eat and a few coins in my pocket if the customers are pleased. And you are pleased, ain't you, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course I am.
Good.
Must have cost an absolute fortune to do all these, all the voice acting. So much of it.
You mentioned regular clientele. Who are they?
Oh, we get plenty of regulars in here, too many to name.
Which of them were here on election night?
Let me think. I remember seeing 3 of the usual crowd. There was Darius, up to no good as always. Then there was Singin' Tom, but he wasn't around for too long. And how could I forget old Cormac? He'd have talked my ear off if I'd let him.
Sound like an interesting bunch of folks.
Where might I find the landlord?
You won't find him anywhere. He doesn't come around here more than once a month.
Let's just ask about the election.
Any thoughts on the election?
Nah, couldn't care less, really. Doesn't matter who's in charge. My life ain't getting any better.
But it can certainly get worse with Leroy in office.
We'll see.
Have you worked here long?
13 years.
I see. Anything else you can tell me about yourself?
I ain't the friendly type.
Well, we can see that.
Right. Understood.
Darius.
What can you tell me about Darius?
Hey now, bucko. You've come in here asking me all these questions, but I ain't seen nothing from you. You want more information? You're gonna have to earn it.
Right. Give me a gin, then.
Coming right up.
Don't get carried away now, Miles.
There you are. 1 gin. That'll be 2 shillings.
There's 3. Now then, about Darius.
Now that man is trouble. I've had to throw him out a few times.
Why do you say he's trouble?
His mind's affected by the poppy seed. He can be gentle as a kitten or fly into a rage at a moment's notice. When he gets rowdy, he gets chucked.
Opium user.
Any idea where I might be able to find him?
Don't know why you'd want to find him, but I hear he spends his day at a smokehouse nearby.
That'll be an
I
opium
believe
place.
it's on Crisparkle Lane. Just look for the door with the oriental symbols above it.
And could you describe him to me?
He's a rough-looking sort, about 55 years old, has a scar on his left cheek, grayish hair, medium build.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk to him. Singing
Who is
Tom.
Singing Tom?
Ah, Tom. Not sure what his surname is, but he's in here about twice a week.
She also
We
likes
call
him.
him Singing Tom because he leads the church choir.
Is that right? Which church?
Oh, I haven't a clue. Never really cared to ask.
Does he associate with any of the other regulars?
I've seen him talking with Darius a few times. They seem to be on friendly terms.
How's your chair doing below the stone?
Tell me about Cormac.
He's in here most every night. Doesn't speak to many people, just me. And a right chatterbox he is, too. Between you and me, Cormac stinks. I can understand why he doesn't keep much company.
He stinks?
Aye, he's a sewer worker. Spends all his day underground in the muck, so he always reeks of shit.
I see. Any idea where specifically he works?
I believe he's at the treatment station, over near the ferry terminal.
If this is going where I think it is, then I'm especially glad I can't smell anything anymore.
Okay, so we've got 2 places to go
I
to.
appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
So we need to find Darius. Find Cormac. And get something to check down that drain. We haven't been to the bakery yet.
Crisparkle Lane. Nothing crisp or sparkly about it. I wonder how many layers of advertisements you'd have to cut through before getting to the wall.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I can't make heads or tails of it, but I'll bet you 10 crowns it doesn't say welcome.
I wonder what it says. Just try something. Like we did in the game we played. In fact, it was the one you mentioned earlier. beneath a steel sky. It's not picking up what it says. Thought it might. No, it's not picking up as Chinese. Let's do auto detect. No, it's not. It's maybe, it looks as though it's made up.
Yes? What do you want?
Might I come in, please?
This is private property, and I don't know you, so no.
I'm looking for a man named Darius. I believe he may be inside.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with that name. So if that's all you wanted, get lost.
My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I demand you let me in the name of the law.
The law? Is this your idea of a joke?
No, as I said, I'm a private investigator.
Then I really don't have to let you in. You've bothered me enough. Get out of here!
Something tells me we won't be getting in there anytime soon.
I need some help to get in there. Okay, let's go try the other place. It's the Sewage Works.
So this is what it's come to, eh? Braving the stench of human waste in hopes of finding a lead. Just make sure you stay away from the edge.
But
Handy
we're
to know
always
where
on the
you are.
edge.
But why would anyone actually travel around the city this way? Some sort of water treatment device would be my guess. For all I know, it could just be a fancy boiler for tea. Another mysterious device. I was happier not knowing all this went on after I used the commode. Another mysterious machine. Who knew dealing with human waste involved so much technology? I hope those aren't full of what I think.
Oh, they probably are.
While you could use a bath, I don't think this is the right place to take a dip.
Let's have a talk to him.
Begging your pardon, sir.
What? Who are you? What are you doing down here?
My name's Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a sewer worker by the name of Cormac.
We needn't look no further. But what is this about?
I just have a few questions for you.
All right. Cormac will answer them, but don't dally for too long. It can be dangerous down here for anyone who's not trained as Cormac is.
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Cormac knows few men. People don't much like talking to a man who spends his days in his sewers. Can't really blame him for it. It's hard to get a stink off, so why bother even trying?
You didn't answer my question, though. Do you know Ronan Lespay or not?
Could you describe him? Cormac's got a better memory for
Got a photo of
faces
him,
than for names.
I have his portrait. Here, have a look.
Ah, yes. Cormac saw this fellow recently.
On election night?
That's right. He come into the bar, voted, went out. Looked drunk to Cormac, but then everyone at that place usually
Why is he using his name? His own name?
Do you frequent a pub called the Silent Raven?
Yes. The Raven is where Cormac goes to forget about the day's work. The barmaid, Nicole, she's a good sort.
Is she?
We likes talking about the ponies down at the track. Nikki loves her some racing. She gives Cormac drinks for cheap in exchange for odd jobs. Nice to have your own personal sewer man, I suppose. She's really the only one Cormac talks to. There's a few others Cormac sees often, but Cormac hasn't spoken with them.
Cripes. This guy goes on and on, doesn't he? To be fair, you were warned.
Do you know anything about the murder that took place outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Murder? Ah, yes. A commotion out in the alleyway.
That's right. Did you see or hear anything?
It was a touch noisy that night, what with all the election stuff happening, but Cormac remembers the sound of the gun. One shot, and then shouting and hollering from the bar. A few people run outside to look at what happened, but Cormac just stayed in his seat and finished his whiskey.
So you didn't see the man who was shot, or who shot him?
Nah, keeps to himself, Cormac does. Makes life easier that way.
Could he be any more unhelpful? Actually, it's probably best not to find out.
Is it difficult being a sewer worker?
Difficult? Nah, it's a dream. Especially since they introduced all these steam tech treatments and purification whatsits. The only thing Cormac's got to do is check the little dial never goes into the red on old Belinda.
Belinda?
Aye, the purifier. She's a real special lady who's made Cormac's life so much brighter. Cormac makes sure to thank her each and every day.
Wonderful. We're talking to a lunatic.
Sounds
Wasn't
like
so easy a few years ago. Back then it was tapping on pipes all day.
Tapping on pipes?
To make sure they was flowing fine and not blocked. Cormac would take his little hammer and tap, tap, tap on the pipes to make sure they was ringing fine. You can imagine what that was like. Tap, tap, tap. Ring, ring, ring. All day, up and down, over and over. The tapping stopped, but the ringing never left. Still hears it to this day, Cormac does.
Do you have any opinions regarding the election?
Cormac hears lots of things about Atwood, but he's the one what's got this new machinery put into the sewer
so.
system.
He likes him.
There's still a job for Cormac, so all that talk about being replaced by machines is just talk, for now. But Leroy says he wants to give the workers their fair chance, so Cormac can't argue with that. What about you?
I would have preferred Atwood stay in office myself.
Bah! They's all the same in the end. One way or another. No point worrying, says old Cormac.
I'll let you return to your work.
Be mindful on your way out.
Can't go that way.
Another mysterious...
So which one's Belinda? Getting much evidence, are we? Let's go talk to the bakery.
All right, Mr. Chavez. The cake and muffins come to a total of 3 shillings, 10 coppers.
There you are, Mrs. Morgan. And thank you again. Barbara is going to love this.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Pardon me, sir.
Very pleasant gentleman.
I'm sure Barbara will enjoy them, the cow. Ah, Mr. Fordham.
Why did she say that?
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
Those look nice, but given the choice, I'll always side with pie over cake. The bunch of assorted baking products. Don't waste your time with those, Miles. We've got a murder to solve. Well, I never had much of a sweet tooth, but even I'd consider buying some of this stuff. You know, if I were still alive. Minor detail, I know.
Excuse me. Right.
The stuff in that day-old box doesn't look half bad. More like 3/4 bad.
We've got a private door.
A very wise man once told me, never go poking around the back rooms of bakeries. I think you'd do well to heed that advice.
Have you got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Ronan was the best brother anyone could have asked for. He took care of me after our parents died. Carriage accident. I was only 9 and he was 13. Ronan went out and found work and managed to support the both of us. He was just a child himself, but he kept us out of the gutter. Or worse, the workhouse.
How did you hear of his death?
Ronan comes by to visit me every day after he finishes work. When he didn't come for 2 days in a row, I got worried. I went to his apartment, but he wasn't there. So I made a report to the police. Yesterday, they contacted me and asked me to come to the mortuary.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss, Mrs. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. Please, find whoever did this to him. Ronan deserved so much better.
Let's just work our way up.
What are your thoughts on the outcome of the election?
Oh, I haven't given it much thought, to be honest. It hardly seems to matter now.
Yes, of course. My apologies for bringing it up. So, this is your bakery.
My husband Gerald and I have had it for almost 10 years.
Is it just the two of you? Do you have any children?
Alas, no. Some extra hands would be most welcome in the kitchen, but we haven't yet been blessed. It's such a shame that Ronan never got to be an uncle.
What do you know about your brother's murder?
Only what the police told me. He was shot at close range outside that pub in the Chum. Nothing was missing, and his wallet had money in it, so they said it wasn't a robbery. I didn't recognize the clothes he was wearing. I had never seen them before, and they were far too big for him. I still can't believe he's gone. He was the only family I had left.
Dr. Edwards at the mortuary might be able to give us some more detailed information. The only thing we'll get out of this one is more tears.
What sort of life did Ronan lead?
You know, just normal. He'd go to work, come visit me afterwards, and go home. He didn't have much of a social life. At least he never mentioned any friends to me. I always hoped Ronan would meet a nice girl to settle down with, but he was so shy, you know.
Where did Ronan work?
At the Grips Home Taxidermy Shop in Gascogne. I always thought it was rather macabre work, but he enjoyed it. Bit lonely, though.
We'll have to go there as well.
Can you give me the address of Ronan's apartment?
It's at 1172 Bushmill Street. I have a spare key.
That would be most helpful.
Why,
Thank
got
you.
a spare key.
Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
Right, so we need to search his apartment to investigate the taxidermy. Go to his apartment. Oh, he was into collecting
Quite the
masks.
collection of exotic items in here. Ronan appears to be a seasoned world traveler.
Or at least knows someone who is.
Just looking at this painting is making me feel seasick. This mask looks African. You should try it on. It'd be an improvement. Some kind of owl mask. The hair looks incredibly familiar. This one is scarier than the other masks. Wait a moment. I think I saw something shiny in the back of the mouth.
How about that? A perfect hiding place for a key.
Oh, that'll be for this. Expecting it to be locked.
Ronan's book collection mostly consists of cheap pulp adventure novels, but this top shelf looks interesting.
Oh, we're good to get a look, are we? Okay. Exotic fauna of Africa. Exotic fauna of Australia. Secret customs of the Orient. We'll look at that in a minute. Bidge Bell. What's that?
It's in another language, but it appears to be a Bible.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah. Unmarked.
No title, and it appears to be blank. I wonder if Ronan just kept empty books on his shelf to appear well read. No title, and it appears to be blank.
I thought you could move. Opium use. Careful when you're offered wine. Okay. Screen. There we go.
I had an illustration that looked similar to that one. I wonder where it ended up. I guess Ronan won't be realizing his world travel dreams now. Death really has a way of messing up your plans. Ronan wasn't too concerned with comfort, apparently. This is hardly bigger than a bunk at sea.
Hidden under the sheets or anything. Let's open up the desk.
Now to find out what Mr. Lespay finds so precious. This one appears to be from Emily.
Ronan, Gerald and I will be celebrating the new year and would like to invite you to spend it with us. Please feel free to bring along any guests you'd like, especially any lady friends you might have.
Aha! A letter from someone called Jimbo?
Ronan, next week will be a year since we met. I can honestly say my life has changed for the better in every possible way, and I will always hold July the 8th as a special day in my heart. I can't wait to see you again, Jimbo. What happened there?
A model of the SS Joondalup. Looks like a merchant vessel to me. Looks like you found Ronan's journal. Perhaps this will be able to give us some more insight into what he was up to before he died.
July the 8th.
There are 2 entries, one from this year and one from last.
So, start with last year's.
July 8th, 1843. I've decided I need to get out more, so I'm going to a club in Gascon tonight. Stuffing animals has taken its toll, and I need to talk to someone who isn't Emily or my co-workers. Gerald told me about a place called the Crimson Cat. I'll try it, and if I don't enjoy myself, I'll just come home. Now for this year's entry. July 8th, 1844. Today is our 1-year anniversary. We're going to meet at the Cat again. I love him, but I wish he wasn't so attached to that place. Emily is so nosy, I worry that she might follow me and discover the truth about Jimbo. If we moved around, I wouldn't worry, but with him, it's always the Crimson Cat. I really shouldn't complain, though. What we have is something truly special.
Well, it seems that our best hope of finding this Jimbo character is to visit the Crimson Cat.
Let's see. March 11th, 1844. I must have eaten something last night which didn't agree with me because I've had a terrible case of the runs.
Probably best to skip this one.
Agreed.
Thought that might be something there, but it's not.
It's empty. Too bad. Oh, this teacup could use a washing. I'd be surprised if it isn't permanently stuck to the desk. They appear to be a pair of letters from Ronan's landlord.
Regards to your request for an extension to pay this month's rent, I'll gladly give you until next month. You've always been a reliable tenant who has paid on time, so don't be concerned. Several months later, I understand we all go through financial difficulties, but I'm afraid I can't extend my generosity beyond the end of 2 months. Please have the rent ready by then. So he was in financial trouble. So, we can go to the Crimson Cat. We haven't been to the taxidermy. Let's go to the Crimson Cat. Oh, we've been here before. Yep. Sailor, right.
I beg your pardon. Your name wouldn't happen to be Jimbo, would it?
Yeah? Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investigator.
Can a guy enjoy his shore leave without being harassed by the law? I've done nothing wrong.
I didn't say you had, and I'm most certainly not the law. I just want to ask you a few questions.
All right, fine.
Where does the name Jimbo come from?
It's just a nickname. My real name's James Bowgroth.
And what is it you do?
I'm a sailor. I thought you detective types were supposed to be extra observant. Shouldn't you be able to tell me what my occupation was just by looking at my fingernails or something?
Sorry to disappoint. Perceptiveness is important in my line of work, but I'm also just a man.
I think perhaps Jimbo has been reading too many of those detective stories in
Sounds like it.
Do you have any opinions about the recent election?
Not really. I'm usually way at sea, so I don't keep up with politics. The sea's got her own laws. Anyway, I can't vote, so it's really none of my concern.
But you're still affected by the decisions the Prime Minister makes.
Not very fair, is it, Mr. Fordham?
No, I suppose it isn't. You know Ronan the Spey?
I knew him, yeah.
Knew him?
He and I haven't spoken recently. In about a month, actually. Things didn't go so well last time.
How do you mean?
Let's just say we didn't part on the best of terms. He made it very clear that he didn't want to speak to me again.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered?
What? No, when? What happened?
He was shot outside a tavern in Chumley 4 nights ago.
Chumley? What was he doing there?
I was hoping perhaps you could tell me.
I honestly don't know.
Quite a lot of different
Ronan
expressions with
hardly
their
went out,
eyes and
and
that.
he especially never crossed the river.
Why was that?
I think he was just too scared of the world to go out and see it for himself. He was happy enough reading about it in his books or collecting things I brought him back from my travels. Honestly, that's what I liked most about him. He was just an average, boring man. It was just the sort of balance I needed in my life.
That's pretty much the exact same reason I always enjoyed working with you, Miles.
You and Ronan had a special relationship, didn't you?
Mr. Fordham, we're in an underground club. You don't have to tap dance around it. Yes, Ronan and I were a couple. At least up until last month.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
We had a misunderstanding. Ronan thought I had been seeing someone else. He was extremely jealous. I tried to explain that he had it all wrong, but he wouldn't hear me out. I was going to give him some time to cool off, but, well, that's not going to happen now, is it?
If it's any consolation, I found a letter you wrote him, which he still kept in his desk.
Damn. Thank you for telling me that.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Something tells me we've reached a dead end. You should give Mrs. Morgan the bad news.
So, the case? No. Must be something else we can do. Right. I'm probably going to stop there for today. Let me just save that. See if I've got anybody I can raid. Oops, wrong spelling. Right, what else we got? We've got Veru's playing Pathfinder. We've got Sulphur Sal playing Oxygen Not Included. I don't know. Might just go over to Veru. Then Pathfinder the RPG. Quite a while now. I think we shall go over to Veru unless anybody else has got anything else. Anybody else? So I just want to say thank you for everybody for watching. If you have enjoyed what you've seen and don't already follow, a follow would be greatly appreciated. I shall be back on Saturday. I shall be back tomorrow with some Dwarf Fortress. It might not be as long a stream as normal because it's Mother's Day here. But you all take care and be safe, and let's all head over to Veru. Right.